Hey, what's up guys, it's T-Bone here and welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So today, what I want to do in this episode is to take a look at some event deck ideas for you to be able to take on a legend boss and get 100% overkill without needing the ultra rare card. In fact, we don't even need the full team to be able to do so. So let's take a look at some of the decks and let's see how we can get the 100% overkill on your legend bosses to maximize your trophy count. I'm going to start by showcasing one of the two teams I use for the legend bosses. I have one master collection card, 2 events, and 1 support card. I did purchase tier 1 of the support card to try and get the ultra rare, but I didn't get lucky there. For my 5th card I have Bashma, and she's the primary booster card that will allow this team to get 100% overkill on a legend solo boss over level 300. The issue with this event team is the relatively low number of power gems created, so it becomes challenging to deal a lot of damage easily. One of the ways to overcome the challenge is to bring another card that creates power gems, so Bashma works really well. She will create power gem for every 8 stacks of Fable Intensity. If you don't have Bashma, Ethereal Drake will work too. Now if you notice so far I'm not using the battle skills, I'm just focused on doing some quick matches and ending the turns early. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to raise the human intensity. I'm trying not to lose time with only a 20-second clock here. The goal is to reach about 200 human intensity. That gives us 400% damage boost or attack boost. And with that, it's going to be enough to take down the legend boss here with 100% overkill. And so what you're seeing here is even when I have passive abilities that spawn power gems, I don't do power gem swaps. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to preserve the power gems here. And you'll notice that the health is decreasing here, and Josephine unfortunately just doesn't heal quite enough. And so there is a limited number of turns with this particular setup, and because it's not an ultra rare, I'm not really worried about when I activate her. So we're coming up to close to 200 intensity at this point, and so where I can, I'm going to match heart gems as well. Look for opportunities to heal up a little bit. Depending on the number of relics you have, you may not be able to reach that intensity, and so take a look and see where the sweet spot is for you, and also look for opportunities to heal. So in this very next turn, the passive ability of my master collection card and event cards activate, then that's when I go ahead and activate everything all at once. And with this particular setup with the 400 attack boost, I'm able to deal over 70 billion damage in this one attack for a total of over 91 billion damage, to easily take down the boss with 100% overkill. The second team that I want to showcase, which is actually the main team I'm using this event, takes advantage of a past water commander card that provides much better healing ability. I have a fully awakened Tannen from the player celebration event, and with this card in, I no longer need to worry about health. I kept the relics the same, with 3 total human relics and 2 Fable relics. The only issue with this deck though is that there's no counter for Traitor, but I will show you how to get around that particular debuff next. And since health is no longer a concern, this becomes a much simpler deck to play. Just do quick gem swaps and keep raising intensity. You are losing 20% of damage from the previous setup, so you'll want to increase the intensity level higher to guarantee enough damage for 100% overkill. In this particular fight, I decided to raise the intensity level to 240, and you can tweak the number according to your team as well. As you're playing this setup though, if you're finding yourself having a hard time doing gem matches without doing a power gem swap, don't worry about it too much. You're going to have enough power boost with higher intensity counter to make up for it. Let's go ahead and skip to near the end of the battle. You can see here that I'm able to avoid doing water gem swaps and allowing my relics to add more power gems to the board each turn. Then once the passive abilities of Dynamite and Iron Spine trigger, make sure that you use Tannen skill first. I was able to convert the remaining dark power gems to water power gems this way. So there's a full board of power gems before activating Bashma's battle skill, which then upgrades most of the power gems. With this board, and with only 3 water human heroes, I was able to deal over 130 billion damage, and this is without an ultra rare card. Now let's take this team and try against Leah, who casts Traitor. Traitor is a debuff that will damage you every time you attack, and if you're not careful, even with the healing ability of Tannen, you might end up losing all your health. The trick here is to do the opposite of the previous strategy. As soon as a passive skill is triggered, do a power gem swap to remove all water gems on the board. You can see that's what I did on the first turn. Now, there are a lot less water gems on the board, and the focus for the next 2 turns is to look for non-water gem swaps. You'll also have an easier time if you don't match too many gems. By reducing the number of gems that could drop, you also reduce the chance of a random water gem match to reduce the amount of damage you take. Then on the 4th turn, do a power gem swap again to remove all the water gems, and at this point you can then just repeat the cycle and keep going. Let's skip forward to the end of the fight, and we continue to wait until about 240 human intensity before activating all the skills. And since there are a lot less water power gems using this approach, I was not able to fill up the entire board with water gems, so the overall damage is decreased. It's still not bad though. I was able to deal over 80 billion damage with this attack, which is good enough for 100% overkill. Now the thing is, Bashma was a Master Collection card and Ethereal Drake was the ultra rare card from a while ago, so these cards may not be available to you. There are some other cards which can do just as well, and Quack is one of my top choices here. Personally, I think you still need to keep Tannen in the team, because with this budget deck using no ultra rare cards, it's important to get more intensity for the attack boost. Without additional gem spawners to fill the board, it's important to avoid making power gem swaps that are not fully connected, and this is where Quack really helps out by moving all the water gems to the bottom of the board. Remember too, that Quack of 4 stars can destroy all non-water gems, so you do not need him at 6 stars. You'll also need to do chip damage with this deck to ensure overkill. Every 3 turns, use Tannen and Quack's ability and do a gem swap to get some damage in. Here I activate my first set of battle skills at 150 intensity mark and deal about 10 billion damage. It gives me a baseline of what damage I can expect, and I can continue to use Tannen and Quack combo to chip the health lower. Finally, I wait until human intensity is at 375. At this point, Dynamite is just about its maximum 500% attack bonus, and I'm able to deal a total of 41 billion damage. This won't be quite enough for 100% overkill at levels 400 and above, but I think it's still quite good. For my last team, I wanted to show Drake Veeple as the option since he is one of the event collection heroes. With a 10 times commander bonus, you'll get more damage with him compared to Quack as well. In addition, his battle skill generates 5 gems for 2 turns, so when you combine him with Tannen, that's 10 additional water gems to help fill up the board for increased damage as well. The strategy here remains the same as the previous decks I've shown. As far as relics go, I didn't bother putting any Fable relics in the deck, and instead focus on relics that could boost the water human cards. I used all human relics and then added an Exultant Saber. Since I've already shown the quick matches and also the way to get chip damage in, I won't go over them again here. Instead, let's skip near the end where we activate all the battle skills at 240 intensity. The combination of the passive power gem spawns and the water gem generation from the team almost fills up the board and was able to deal over 35 billion damage in one shot. We got very similar damage compared to the Quack deck and with less intensity. So that's all for today's episode. Thanks for watching and thanks for all of your feedback and support so far. I was hoping that this particular video would help you get 100% overkill on your bosses without needing an ultra rare card. So as usual, please leave me a note, a comment, any feedback that you have for this video or any other videos, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.